Alright, what's up, YouTubers? It's Everyday Entrepreneurs here. Kevin Buckner.
Lamar Smith.
Calvin Snowden.
And we have a special guest today.
Marvin Smith.
Marvin Smith Bookkeeping. And we're glad to have him on the show. We'll be right back. Alright, we're back with Marvin Smith and the team. Like I said, we're glad to have Marvin on. Marvin, tell us a little bit about yourself. How'd you get to come here today?
Well, my name is Marvin Smith. I am the founder of Smith Bookkeeping Financial Services. I've been here in Philadelphia for the last 3 years.
Okay.
Formerly, I owned a business back in New York, so I'm not new to this. But I've been here for 3 years, finding my way in. I'm very thankful to be amongst everyone that's here.
Oh, cool.
Absolutely.
Like it. So, you do bookkeeping, huh?
Yes.
Tell us the difference between what we would say bookkeeping and maybe traditional accounting, or what makes you stand out amongst the other people?
Well, I think what makes me stand out is that, one, I bring experience. I've been in the field for over 20 years.
Wow, okay.
Now, the difference between bookkeeping and accounting is relatively the same.
Okay.
So, a bookkeeper is someone that you will hire as a full-time employee at your office or establishment.
Okay.
So the bookkeeper responsibility is to record all the income, the money that's coming into the business, and to record all the operating, the expense, which is the operating cost, the cost of running the business.
Gotcha.
They will record all your payroll, they will do all your bank reconciliation. So that's the job of a bookkeeper. And an accountant is someone who you, at the end of the year, the bookkeeper gather all the financial statements, which are the profit and loss, the balance sheet, the trial balance. And then they're going to put all the information together and send it to the accountant, or what they call a CPA, and then they're going to file your taxes, depending on your business structure. So that's the difference between the two, but they relatively do the same thing.
Gotcha. So you're ultimately saying the bookkeeper does all the work.
Oh, yeah.
The accountants just come in and make
Right,
it look good.
right.
Okay, I gotcha. See, everyday entrepreneurs, we hard working, so Marvin just doesn't know the work.
Right.
So I know you do accounting for a couple different people. What do you see some of the challenges?
Well,
Or bookkeeping, sorry. Bookkeeping.
No, one of the challenges are this, with a lot of entrepreneurs, when they make the mistake, or businesses, especially startup business. I think one of the challenges with a lot of startup business is capital, cash, because the difference between an entrepreneur and an employee, when you work for someone, you have a guaranteed salary. But when you go out on your own, now you have to run the business. So you don't have that experience unless you grew up in a family where they had business owners. Well, the challenge that I do have from a lot of entrepreneurs, they put in their mind that they can't afford it, but they pay for it in the long run. So what I mean by that is this. Now, in other words, you have to be able to understand finances from a business point of view. You're going to need working capital. And then you're going to be able to understand budgets. You're going to be able to understand what is operating cost. So the main challenge with a lot of entrepreneurs is just the fact that they don't have the money, the startup money. They either have bad credit, they don't have any capital. So that's the biggest challenge.
Okay.
Yeah, interesting.
So besides bookkeeping, what services does your firm offer?
Well, we offer payroll. We also offer tax services, which is income tax preparation for personal and business owners. I also do QuickBooks consultation.
Okay.
And I also do business consultation that I do.
Now, would you recommend, you talk about QuickBooks, would you recommend entrepreneurs or people out there to do their own QuickBooks and have you review them? Like, how does that really work when you talk about QuickBooks consultation?
Well, what I would advise is this. For every entrepreneur, is not to do it themselves.
Okay.
Because what happens is they don't know how to identify and record transactions. I understand that you're trying to save money. However, in the long run, when you do your tax return, it might come back to bite you because you might get audited. So I believe that the way you start your foundation is, you can bring someone like myself or any other accounting professional to quarterly or every 6 months look at your financial records to make sure that you're doing the right things that are possible for, one, your business to grow, to see where you're at, and third, that you don't get audited by the IRS.
Gotcha.
Right. Now I want to ask you, from that point that you made, do you find yourself dealing with some clients who, because as entrepreneurs, some entrepreneurs can be difficult to work with. I know it all. You know what I mean? This is my business. You're dealing with.
You know what you're talking about.
Dealing with your baby. Like, so, like, how Like, have you ever, or can you give an example of where you was doing some bookkeeping for someone and you had a situation where, because of your experience, you were able to, either help their business grow, save some money here and there in different places? Like, is there like some kind of example that you can kind of give us off the top of your head,
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I can tell you stories. I'm gonna tell you a story.
I'm going to PG stories. This is
No,
a
no,
PG
no, no,
show.
no,
Okay.
No. Anyone desire to be in business, one thing I always tell people is always be prepared for that no. That no. You're gonna have that door shut in your face, but you should never give up. I had a client, make a brief story. It was back in New York. And I learned this. Sometimes business owners don't want you to tell them what to do. Because there's a thing called pride. There's a thing where if you try to tell someone, don't go down this path, and they don't listen to you, then you know, I need to back off this person. So the more that I gave myself to this person, when I found out that the more this person was pulling away. If I told this person to go left, they would go right intentionally in spite of what I said. So I was young, I was immature, and I got my emotions involved in it. And that can happen to any of us business owners.
Sure.
That you walk into a situation where you know you have the knowledge and the skill set and the education, however, the client doesn't listen to you. So our breakup was not very good. And what I would say from that experience is this, that one thing I learned is this: go in humble, listen to what the client wants you to do, but don't sacrifice your values and morals for the dollar. And I felt good that you know what, I could tell a client, you know what, I'm not willing to do this. This goes against my professional opinion. But if that client goes against that, then I'm going to cut ties with you. You know, so we didn't have a good breakup at the end. And I've had clients like that also, where I've walked in, and I think a lot of times as a business owner, you got to put the pride aside. Is when you don't know something, admit to it.
Let's back up a little bit. How did you get started?
Well, I got started back in the late 90s. I was working for a company called Radiology Film Radio Services back in New York. And I went to LaGuardia Community College, single dad, raised my daughter, and got my degree in accounting. So I knew that going to school is one thing, but the experience is something else. Whatever you go to school for, in some cases you don't apply it in the real world. It's there. So I met a gentleman by the name of Mr. Paul Adams. He was a CPA, God bless him. He gave me my first start because my thing was this. When you want something, you have to go get it. Don't wait for someone to give it to you. I knew that I didn't have the experience, but I was willing to go get it. So he gave me my first opportunity, and I took it from there, and I made a lot of mistakes. But anyway, he gave me my first start. Started my first company called Accountability Bookkeeping Services. Had several clients. I was able to work in different industries. Restaurant. One of my clients was Atomic Wings. So I worked for him, and I learned a lot. And then somewhere along the way, I got distracted. You know, but my joy for being in business is this, because one of the keys are two things. I own me. I own my time, and I am the CEO of my own life. So that's what makes me do what I want to do. Even though I fell down a couple times, but I always want to get back up. So that's why I'm here today.
Okay, wow. Sounds good to me. So, what does Smith Bookkeeping look like 5-10 years? What does that look like?
Wow. I mean, where I see myself right now is I see myself growing. And when I say grow, I want to be able to, I want to educate people.
Okay.
And what I mean by that is that I think many of us can relate to this, growing up in either a single parent household or a community that is not fortunate like other communities. As black people, I want to educate the kids that will give them a head start in life.
Okay.
So I see myself moving away from the business. Yeah, I'll have my business, but my business is going to take me where I want it to go. That is to teach others what I have to do through social media. But that's the main purpose of Smith Bookkeeping. I see myself growing something. I want to give out jobs like I did before.
Okay.
That's the most beautiful thing, to give out jobs. But I want to educate.
Okay.
I know people will get on my nerve, I want to educate.
Okay. So get out there and educate the masses, huh?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So if I'm coming up, I'm a youngster, and I'm thinking about going into accounting, bookkeeping, whatever it is. What's some of the first steps I should do? What classes, where should I go?
Well, what I would do and what I didn't do, I would do the research on what are the best schools based on reputation. In other words, everyone can go for education, but the question, I want to go to the best school. And a lot of times with the best school, doesn't mean you're the smartest, but the best school, based on its reputation, it'll allow you to put you in positions of meeting people, interacting and networking. So one thing I would do is, not only for the schools, I would go to accounting firms, do free volunteer work, and see what it's like on an everyday basis of the life of an accountant. And once I gather all this information, now it's going to give me a clear understanding of what school I want to go to, and it's going to make my path and my thought more clearer on what I want to do.
And so, what would you give to like an inspiring person who wants to make the transition? What kind of tips would you give them from working for somebody and then from working for themselves?
Well, I would say it's the mindset. You have to shift your mind. So you got to remember something. Work gives you security. It gives you comfort. Now to step out on your own, you're stepping away from security, which now you operate from a place of fear. So what I would say is that as an employee versus an entrepreneur, step out, but step out with a plan. Don't let me tell you to step out, because my path and your path is totally different. So what I would tell you, don't go walk in and quit your job. Don't go on your job and tell everybody what you do. Okay? Have a strategy. And then once you have a strategy, you talk to people, mentors, people who have been successful or even unsuccessful, then you step out. Because now when you're able to meet your demands as far as getting your bills paid, and now it's an easier transition.
A little bit, but so if you had to leave this conversation with one thing that you want to tell people about Smith Bookkeeping Services, or yourself,
Right.
what would it be?
Well, for me, is if I had to leave this conversation, I would say dedication. That's all I would say. And I would say that, you know what, no matter what your goals are, you can accomplish anything. But don't make goals without a timeline is just a wish. But push forward. Don't let no one tell you that's what you can't do. Turn those can'ts into motivation to accomplish everything that you desire.
I say a lot of times when you become an entrepreneur, do something that you're passionate about. You know what I mean? Because your passion is your purpose. That's how I feel. Your purpose is different.
I think what I'll say is, as you go on this entrepreneur journey, there are 3 key things that you should have besides your passion. A good attorney, a good web designer, and a good bookkeeper. If you get these things, your business is going to be set up for success, and you will be successful.
Nice. So Marvin, there are people out there who are like, you know what, now that we had this conversation, I need a bookkeeper. How do they get a hold of you?
Well, you can email us at info@smithbookkeepingfinancialservices.com, or you can call us at 215-214-5660, or find us on the web at www.smithbookkeepingfinancialservices.com.
He said all that without even stuttering. So on that note, we're out of here. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
All right.